everybody. We are talking about Eat Your Heritage Part 2, the second in a series from the Guam Humanities Council. Now joining us, a new friend, community organizer, Amanda Corby. Amanda, hafa and welcome to Guam.
Thank you.
All right,
Aloha.
Nice. Thank you. Very nice to have you here. So what's your role in this whole event?
Keeping the chef organized, I think, is my #1 role in the event. But as far as Pili Hawaii goes, our community education and food company, really my role is working and reaching out to the community, working within our community, coming up with the programs that we're doing with them, running the logistics, and then I also have an event company that we work a lot with chefs and with farmers to try and kind of make sexy the world of sourcing local food and utilizing it in our events. So that's really what we do.
That probably isn't so hard, right? Because food by its nature is always going to have a high demand. But let me ask you, is it difficult in the Aloha State to try and get people to cling to the traditional ways of preparing food, and with so much of a cosmopolitan approach, and people want to always try these new radical fusion type of recipes and everything, when say this is still who we are and this is what we have to maintain over time?
Yes, I think that thanks to chefs like Mark and many others in Hawaii, it's really starting to look back to the source, look back to the old ways of preparing food, and we try and stick with 5 ingredients or less, and really so that you taste the ingredients. It's not a fusion of 30 different things together and you're not sure what it is that you're eating, but really taking something, whether it be for us taro, which is used traditionally but also used in new ways as well. So kind of making that the fusion, not so much everything all mixed together, but really thinking of a traditional product and how to use it in maybe a more modern sense.
Now, being a community organizer, what are some of the big challenges that you experience in Hawaii in trying to do your very fine work, and what messages would you like to pass along to the local community in trying to foster that kind of activity out here?
Well, I think really, we're here to learn and to share our knowledge. I think we all come with a certain amount of knowledge that we can share with one another and that we can learn from one another. So as far as challenges, I think that being an island, we have a limited amount of resources, and really working, whether it's with chefs or with farmers, to understand what their problems are and maybe what we can do as a community to support them. So hopefully here we'll have some of those same conversations, and maybe we can learn a little bit from the farmers and from the chefs and from the community here, and share kind of the work that we're doing in Hawaii as well.
And if you would debunk a myth, Amanda, if you would, because we here in Guam, we have so much respect and reverence for you, our Pacific neighbors there in the whole Aloha State, but is there an underground bunker that has enough spam for the state of Hawaii to survive the zombie apocalypse?
I'm going to have to do a fact check on that. I'm looking for help. Do I get to phone a friend on this one?
Sure, we'll get back to you on that. You're welcome back anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Well, speaking again of the local angle, Dr. Keeling is someone who has dedicated her life to this work and puts so much time and effort into it. What do you see as some of the parallels between the local community and maybe our friends from Hawaii and other places in the Pacific?
Well, I think both communities were really looking towards trying to towards sustainability, in terms of limited resources and what we can bring to our communities that are foods and fish and culture that are sustainable, right? And how that all goes together, kind of like the whole concept of eat your heritage, right? How do we go back to the ways that we practiced before that were very sustainable, not only, once again, environmentally, but culturally. So looking at cultural preservation, food sustainability, environmental well-being. So it's kind of making all those connections, and I think Hawaii's done a very good job at that movement and getting it all going. And we're doing that here in Guam. We're doing a little bit slower, but we've got some great leaders in our own community that have really gotten this whole movement off the ground.
Which leads me to ask the both of you, and I'd like to hear from you, Dr. Keeling, first on this. How do you manage that balance in the face of industry and trying to make we can generate more from the land, and we can actually turn this into a commercial venture,
right,
and do that kind of thing. But at the same time, we don't want to overtax what we do, and then maybe, you know, Amanda, you can jump in with Hawaii's perspective on that.
Well, what we're trying to do with our project and with the Humanities Council is really focus on the local community. And so we want to promote conversation, awareness, understanding of all of these issues, and then where we can go from here. So that's what our focus, just one small step at a time. Bringing out the tour here, this is our second tour. We've done a whole series of film and discussion events and hikes to farms and gardens and, important, cultural conservation areas, just to create awareness and understanding and to promote, conversation around these important issues for our community.
All right, well, Amanda, unfortunately, we've only got 20 seconds, so in that sparse amount of time, where would you say like Hawaii balances the...
I mean, I think for us, we really look at working with the youth. They are the future leaders, they're the future decision makers. So we have with us Kelly Pittman. She's 19 from Waianae, works in her community at Ma'o Farms, and is now working as a cook with Mark. And for us, that's really where we see the impact, from a 5-year-old to a 20-year-old. They're our future generations.
All right, very nice. So real quick, where can people learn more, and where can they meet up with you guys? Because this is a fascinating topic.
Right, so we have a whole tour, right? And so we're starting today. We'll be in the schools all week. Simon Sanchez, Southern, Guam Community College. We have public events. We have a big public event tomorrow evening at the Tununing Community Center, where Amanda and Kelly are going to be talking about their work. We have a film and discussion event on Thursday at the University of Guam at 6 p.m. Both of these events are free to the public. And then we have our big interpretive dinner, Chamorro Hawaiian Fusion, on Saturday, April 6th at the Hyatt.
Did you see the smile that went on my face when you said like big dinner? So we'll make sure to cover that for you. Thank you, ladies.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you.
very proud. All right, stay tuned because we will be back more show right after this.